Okay.
Yeah, can you say? I can't see. Where am I gone to? I seem to have gone disappear from the screen now.
I can see everything's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. Tim is recording the call. Everything's good. Yeah, where do you want to start? Do you want to start at the beginning, or do you want to start where we left off last time?
But you're the interviewer. You hit me with everything you want to. I suppose we might as well start at the beginning again because we've everything lost that we got the last time anyway.
Yeah, exactly. All right, go ahead.
So what do you want to go back on where it all started, how it all started?
Like we never did it before, just basically, obviously you have cancer. So when was the first time in your life that you came across this or had any understanding that you might have cancer, I guess, right?
Sorry, can you say it again?
I said, when was the first time in your life that you came across or was made aware or had some kind of understanding that there might have been a problem or?
Well, okay. Everything you're saying is coming up on the screen now. It's coming up on yeah, okay. It's coming up audio. It's gone again now. It's coming up as written. Every question you're asking me is coming up written on the screen.
It's fine. Just forget
That's
about it.
okay. Yeah. I won't let it distract me. I used to go to a place in Belgium, in Brussels, because I was trying to get rid of. I went there, I think 2010, and I got some blood tests done there because they told me that they could help my arthritis with hormone treatment. Not hormone treatment. It was just balancing my hormones. It would be more based on hormone treatment. So I think I went there once or twice in 2010, and then I didn't go there because I felt it hadn't done me any good. So I went back there in 2015 because, oh yeah, another reason I stopped going because I had no money. In 2010, 2011, I had no money because I had money when I started, and then within 12 months I had no money. So anyway, I went back then 2015 because I presume I had some extra, I won't say extra cash, but some disposable cash that I could, like the trip wouldn't cost that much, but the medication would cost maybe around, for the last year, might cost me about €500. So what they used to do, they used to send me a kit, and I would get blood tests. I would send it to them. They would get the blood tested there in the clinic in Belgium or in wherever it was. I would go there and they'd have all my blood tests ready for me. So it was there as well, back in 2010, that they discovered that I had the ferritin levels were high in my body. That's when, other from that place, I would never have discovered I had hemochromatosis.
Okay, so they were the people that put you onto that.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
They told me my iron levels were high. I had to go home and get him checked. So I went home and got him checked, and they discovered I had hemochromatosis. But anyway, when I went there, then they like my PSA was high. So the guy there, Dr. Hertiger, was the guy, and I met him, and he done a physical examination, and he told me that I had. I think he told me I had prostate cancer because he could find a lump in his skin. Like that was a kind of like it was, Jesus, where did this come from? Like this, like I went there for one thing, and then they discovered I was another problem.
How did he discover that?
Well, the blood test showed my PSA level was high.
Oh, this is a common blood thing, a test.
Well, you would, like, they would do a complete range of blood tests, but your PSA level would be probably something that they would do for men of my age. I probably should have been doing it here with doctors here, but nobody here seems to give a shit anyway about things like that. But anyway, and then he done a physical examination, and he discovered that there was an abnormality. I didn't even know what he was. Now I understand what he discovered. He discovered that the tumor or the lump or the growth that was in my prostate, it could be physically, because other doctors I had that told me that there was something, and then so when I seen it on X-rays, and not on X-rays, but on scans and MRIs, I had that what it was like and what it looked like, especially the scan that was done in Germany. So that was the thing. Like, and I was really, oh Jesus, it knocked the wind out of my sails completely. I went there for one thing, and then I discovered I had this. So I came back, and my doctor, after done a test as well, and she said, yeah, there was something. What they do basically, if you want to know, they put their finger up your anus and they can feel your prostate, and they can feel if the prostate is normal or if it is, because like they know what it should feel like, a normal prostate and a prostate that's not normal, if you understand.
Yeah.
So I didn't. I was recommended to go for I went to the region. I went to the regional. I went to Barrington's. So the regional, I went out there. They wanted me to do this, that, and the other thing. And anyway, the regional G's, this guy, this oncologist or urologist, or whatever he was in Barrington's, who was going to do a biopsy. It was done in Barrington's anyway. So he contacted me back and saying, it was benign. So that means I had something in my prostate, but it wasn't malignant. It wasn't cancerous.
Your first first time the doctor in Brussels told you, how long after is this that he said
it was? I think it was by the time my own GP done it, and by the time I got into Barrington's, I'd say it could be maybe 9 months, maybe. Yeah, something, maybe 9 months, maybe 12 months. It would be, because I'd have gone away. This was in June or July. I'd have gone away in September, October, and I wouldn't be back in Ireland until May anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So like you wouldn't have told anyone this either, like, because there was not really anything to tell you.
Not a living soul.
Yeah. Do you reckon it had a little bit of stress you out a little bit? What year was this?
This would be 2015 into 2016.
Okay, yeah. A little bit stressful though, still, like, right?
Oh yeah, I was very concerned about it.
Yeah, especially because you're like, you live like a very healthy lifestyle, so you're like,
that was the biggest shock. Like, and it was, I wasn't aware. Like, I was conscious of prostate cancer in men, and I was taking on and off supplements that are supposed to help your balance your estrogen and progesterone, which is the male and female hormones that, and there is supplements like sal palmetto that's supposed to be very, very good for your prostate and all that. And I was taking them quite regularly, even going back, say, from 2010 or 2008, I would have been taking them. You know what I mean? So it was terrible. Like, it was an awful kick in the gut. Like, Jesus, you're doing everything right and you still get this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Crazy.
And then after 2016, I suppose, got it back. It was malignant, but I like probably done a blood test before I went away again. Like, it's like I would be in Ireland for April, May, June, July. That was I'd be gone maybe. Well, that time I was going away later because I was renting the house that time. If I had that, I started renting the house. You know what I mean? So I would be going away later. I would be gone away from probably the end of October, and I'd be back early April. That was the norm that time for me.
Yeah, with the growing as well.
Yeah, I was back to starting the growing. Yeah, we'd be back to starting the garden and all that.
Okay, so you went away then.
I was taking a lot of, I suppose I was started that time doing my own research online, and I was taking a lot of probably supplements that I thought would be beneficial for prostate problems, because I at that time, because it was the test came back as not benign, not malignant, but it was afterwards I discovered, like, doing a biopsy, what they call it, a blind biopsy on a prostate is like going into a football field and it's pitch dark and you're trying to kick goals and points. Because they're picking spots, but the spot you could have the prostate cancer in might have, it could be the wrong spot they could hit. They might hit 5 or 6 spots, but they don't hit exactly. It's not a, I don't know if there's a word for it, I can't think of. They don't go into the, where the tumor
nucleus.
is. They just pick the, because they put in the needle, they don't see where they pick the spots from.
I mean, I know it's like,
And as well as that, I suppose, I'm not saying this is exact science, but it's people's opinions that biopsies can lead to the spread of prostate cancer in your prostate, and the spread of cancer in your prostate. I'm not saying that is exact science. I'm not saying that is being proved, but a lot of people have that theory, and they're medical people as well.
yeah, I would imagine it's not in the benefit of the hospital or the medical profession to throw themselves under the bus, if that makes sense, because it's like it's the only thing they have is like
Yeah, exactly. It's the only test they have.
Yeah, they're not going to say, "Oh well, yeah, this is shit." It's as good as it gets, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so there's no, it's benign, obviously, and what changes then?
Well, then I suppose the PSA kept rising.
Yeah.
I think it was about, like, the PSA has to be, the levels of PSA have to be under 4 for any, anything over 4 is and if it's rising, if the graph is rising, like, okay, you could have a PSA over 4. You could have a urinary infection. You could have many different things can cause that. There's a thing called prostatitis that a huge amount of men get that over 50, but it's not prostate cancer. It's just your PSA rises. It's an infection in your prostate. Some people's prostates swell and they have problem going to the toilet, but that's very different to prostate cancer, prostatitis. And there is
Misdiagnosed as well, then, yeah. I imagine it probably gets misdiagnosed as well at times.
Yeah, because sometimes you see they reckon that biopsies are done in a lot of men that they shouldn't be done at all, and prostatectomies, which is the removal of the prostate, is done in a lot of men that it shouldn't be done at all because they could live longer without just in a watch and wait scenario than going through all this barbaric surgery.
It's crazy, isn't it? The way we look, like I can get it as well because, you know, it's like if you're a medical professional or whatever, a surgeon, you're like, okay, we need to cut that off because that's bad. But I guess you would have to say they're not probably thinking, well, if we don't cut it off, what happens?
Nothing might happen because you see, a lot of people claim that there's a huge, like, men, if they get into their 80s, 90% of them would have prostate cancer, but they never know it.
Yeah, wow, interesting. Yeah, like from my experience with surgery, I'm so glad I had the surgery that I had. I know it was only on my knee, but now like I have such a better awareness. Like I'd be very careful to go under the knife again for anything, just because like literally like I'd never been in a surgery before, and the 5 minutes before I go under the knife, they hand me a contract or something saying, if anything goes wrong there, we're not liable or whatever. That, which is fine, but I was just kind of like, whoa, what the fuck? So if I die, like that's it, what? Or you know, it's you know, surgery is incredible, like what they can do, but it's also sometimes it's not necessary, right?
Yeah, but the other thing is, they can tell you anything they want to. But when you come out of anesthetic, like when you're under anesthetic, they'll do what they think they need to do.
Oh yeah, which is, you know,
and it mightn't be what you want at all. But you don't stay in the matter because you're out cold.
Yeah, they have to get to the end of they have to complete the journey, and the end is to chop it off, and that's the goal or whatever, you know. There's not a bigger look at it. Yeah, so anyway, moving from
I remember when I got, even though I think it might be even better, but like when I got my second hip replaced,
Yeah,
I wanted the same as the first one, like the not the full replacement, the capping.
yeah, the socket cleaning or
Yeah.
shaving.
And I had assumed, and I talked to your man, the surgeon, and I had assumed that that was what they were going to do, even though I knew that they were kind of phasing him out at the time because there was a lot of litigation of people who'd got that surgery done and it wasn't successful and they had to get it changed and they had to get in the full replacement. It was a worldwide thing, not in Ireland, not in water, it was a worldwide thing.
Just didn't work out, I guess, on the stats.
Yeah, but I was like, because he was Sullivan perfected it in Ireland, like, and he would be a specialist in the ball and socket, the first hip replacement I got. He would be one of the top people, because he was training surgeons all over the world of how to do that. So he'd be one of the top people in the world in that. So, like, in my conversation with him, and I was saying to him, look, I want the same one because like it was so good, and he said, yeah, we will do that, yeah, well, yeah, that'd be no problem. And then when I came out of surgery, I discovered I had a full hip replacement done.
Yeah, but I guess if you sign a contract, it probably says in there as well, if there's any complications, we need to act on your whatever.
So he said, like, okay, when he came back, he said, well, your hip was in too bad a condition. We couldn't do the ball and socket. Your hip was in too bad a condition. We had to completely replace it. It was much worse than the last one. He might be right. He might be telling me fucking bullshit for all I know.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's the same thing. When I remember, I had the biopsy done inside in Barrington's, and I know there was I would talk to the guy before the biopsy and all that, and he said, yeah, there'll be no problem, blah blah blah, everything will be grand. It's a very simple procedure. You will do this, and this. But I felt I had the biopsy that I suppose, I felt, how would you say it? Going to the toilet was different to have that. For some, it wasn't major, it wasn't, but I knew something was different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. He doesn't care about that though. It's just
But
like
I said, look, Asher, that's only a minor thing. Like, and I mentioned that to other people as well, and they said, but you can go to the toilet, you've no problem, blah blah blah, all that, and but yeah, you might have some minor like, it's like medication. Sure, there are side effects. What can we do? There are side effects. The side effect could kill you. But that's as far as they're concerned, this is the medication, this is the treatment for it. If you have side effects, some people have major side effects, some people have minor side effects, but nothing we can do about that. You know what I mean?
I know, it's yeah, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah. But anyway, my story, going on from that, then if we're just watching wait. Okay, so I used to get PSA done every time I come back to Ireland, and it was kind of, the graph was going up all the time.
Okay. Continue. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I dropped. So the graph is going up all the time. Kind of.
My PSA was rising from 5 to 6 to 7 to 8. No, I mean, not massively rising, but it was rising.
This is between
a good sign.
2016 and 2017 or
17 and 2018. And 2018, it was up to about, I think it was up to about, 2018 was the year I had all the fucking shit here then.
Yeah, a lot of stress as well.
And it went up that year. Oh no, that was, no, 2017 I had all the trouble here.
It was because Connor was in Thailand and I just started my job at my current school. It was all happening because he came and you explained to us what was going on, and me, Connor, and Cathal were in this room in July 2017.
That was 2017, was it?
July, yeah. You explained what was going on.
Yeah, so all that. So my PSA was still rising,
Yeah.
and it was then in 2018. Then when I came back, it was up to about, I think, 12 or 13. It was varying around 11 and 13, but it was, I'm not sure the exact figure, but it was rising all the time. Okay. So the doctor here sent me to this specialist in the Mather. He was he done robotic surgery in the prostate. It was supposed to be the thing to do. So I went up and I got a whatever MRI and whatever I got done there, and I went back and I met him, and he said, yeah, and he done an examination where he said, yeah, you have prostate cancer. We will book you in for biopsy. I'm 99% sure it's prostate cancer. We will do this, and this, and we book you in for a biopsy next week or 2 weeks time, something like that. And then we will do the robotic surgery, and then if there's anything cleaned up afterward, we'll do some radiation therapy or some chemotherapy to clean up everything, and you'll be grand, you'll be okay.
This was you popping up to talk to a guy. They still hadn't really told you anything. Your PSA levels are high and that's it, right?
Yeah, like this is what we're going to do, blah blah blah. Like, and he didn't say, is this okay with you, or what you think of this procedure, or didn't give me like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, it was like you were told, okay, your PSA level has been rising for a couple of years, and then they're like, okay, I think it's time to go and see this guy, or had they told you have cancer, or what's the story? Before you went to him, what did you know? Only
well, I
PSA.
knew that I do a rising PSA, and it was a possibility that the cancer could have been gone from benign to malignant.
And he says then he basically confirms then you have cancer. We're gonna go.
Well,
after.
he did, but he still had to do a biopsy to confirm it. But he said, I'm almost certain. Now I can't say this for definite fact, but I'm almost certain. What he said was, whether it's benign or malignant, we will remove that anyway.
Yeah. I guess that's normal.
The growth, whatever it is, just in case, we'll remove it anyway. But I was booked in for another biopsy, and I canceled.
That all sounds good and normal, like, like, oh, you'll just go in and we'll clean that up, and we'll give you a bit of radiation, a splash of that stuff, and you'll be good as gold.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're going in for a little session, and just like a knee clean, basically. But
yeah,
it's not.
It's like removing people from your ass that's irritating you.
Yeah, but it's not really, though. It's a little bit more.
Well, you see, at that stage, Jim, I was looking into surgery, and I was looking into prostatectomies, and I was looking into all these things, and I was looking into the side effects of all these things, and the whole thing sounded or felt like barbaric to me. I said, Jesus, I'm not going, like, my theory always was, I want quality, not quantity. I want quality and quantity, but I don't want to be in a situation like where people saying, I regret having surgery. Now I am now I'm incontinent. I have to wear a nappy.
Yeah, like I'm happy I went for surgery, because now I know the dangers and what can happen, because I just thought, oh, they just fix stuff. Many things can go wrong, like you have nerve damage, which is it's fair enough, because like what they're doing is super difficult, but like people really don't know what they're in for. Like generally people are fine, but a lot of the time they're not,
Yeah, and I think, like, I suppose there was something like I after leaving him that evening in Dublin, I met Anya. I remember we went for a meal together, and I wasn't in a very good place. But on the way down on the bus, I went up by bus or train, I'm not sure. But I decided by the time I got to Limerick, fuck it, I'm not doing this. No way.
I don't blame you. Like you see, like you're not a normal person either. You take care of your health, generally speaking. Like what you understand as much as you can. So you're quite independent in that sense. A lot of people just hand their health over to their doctor down the street, and whatever they do, when they get sick, they say, "Oh, stop drinking so much or stop eating too much shit," and that's kind of how they, that's their health basically. So yeah, it makes sense. Like you're like, that sounds shit. I feel.
So then I came back. That was 2018.
Yeah.
And then I came back and I said I wasn't going to do it, and I rang there was an appointment made for the Mater Hospital. I rang the Mater Hospital and cancelled the appointment. And your man, the surgeon, actually rang me here. Why I'd cancelled it. And I said I'm not going ahead with it at the moment. And he was very insistent I should, and how he was going to save my life, and I was being irresponsible by not doing it and stuff like this.
That's
so
not.
I said, okay, look, okay, that's grand. I say I am not refusing your treatment at the moment. I'm not going ahead with it. That's all. I'm just it's a watch and wait situation with me at the moment. That's my.
How did you feel after getting that phone call like that? Like some of that
No,
stuff
that
is
was
fair.
like it's not good because you're being pressurized to do something. But it didn't matter what he told me that him do, but I had my mind made up. I wasn't going down that road. There was no way anybody could have convinced me at that stage, 2018. It was about, I think, May or June. There was no way I would have. I had my mind made up firmly, and that's the stage. Then I tried to get some oil. I got the oil, and that was my research, and eventually got in contact with the guy in Holland. He lives in France, Brian, and I got his contact through friends of mine. One of them was a Dutch she's from Holland herself. She done the organic course with me, so it was her that because I was getting stuff here in Ireland, and that was, I think it was full spectrum CBD oil made with coconut oil, because the guy who would make it didn't charge any money. The only thing he wanted was give me a few big tubs of coconut oil. So I was taking that. I was taking large quantities of that, and it gave me, my energy was very good with it. It was fantastic. I knew I take about, I think, 10 or 12 drops 3 times a day or 4 times a day.
Yeah.
But you see, I thought that was THC oil, but it was CBD oil. Now afterwards I realized it was CBD oil. Okay.
Before you continue now, just because you're on the topic, so I went into a cannabis, medical kind of cannabis store today, and the lady was saying they're going to be producing non-psychoactive THC oil soon, which is interesting.
Yeah. But what plant is it made from?
Different plant. They have different plants to extract it from. I'm going to talk to her more again. I'll talk to her in a week or two. But yeah, it was just interesting because I was like, oh, because my dad used to take cannabis oil, and the CBD oil was fine, but when he took the THC oil, he had extreme anxiety the next day or for days after consuming it, and it just wasn't worth it because he couldn't enjoy life. You know, that was basically it, right?
I was stoned. I was permanently stoned.
But it wasn't when you were stoned, it was afterwards. You said you used to wake up.
I'd wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be quite anxious.
Yeah. And it made you feel uncomfortable, basically. And she was like, oh, okay, wow, we have oil coming now soon that is non-psychoactive, but it's THC oil. So I'll have to talk to her more about it. But anyway,
yeah,
continue.
Definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah,
but
continue.
Then I was taking that, and I was stoned here. Geez, I was completely stoned most of the time.
You'll be telling me. You were pretty happy about it, though, for a while, to be honest. You were delighted. And
I was active, yeah, because I was, but I remember that year, and it was only, okay, I'll tell you a story and I'll go back again. That year, 2018, I was here during the summer, and I remember watching all the GA matches. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after going after CBD oil in early 2019, a lot of them were repeated on TG Cahar or on YouTube, and I was watching them, and I said,
yeah.
I couldn't remember anything. I was, you know what I mean?
Oh yes, I love this. This is so funny.
I could, because I know for a fact I sat down and watched the matches.
Yeah.
And then you replay it over, like, because I would have a very good memory, a very good recollection of matches. I could tell you what happened, what minute nearly. It's the one thing I have a good recollection of. But I watched matches. Geez, did I see that match? I must have, but I couldn't remember. And there was one match between Galway and Clare. It was an amazing match, and they went to extra time.
Yeah.
And it was Galway won it in extra time by a point or something like that. An All-Ireland semi-final, and that time it would be probably late August, and must have been absolutely fucking stoned.
You probably just slept through most of the matches, to be honest.
Huh?
You probably slept through most of the matches.
Could be possible. I could have you.
Oh, that's class. I love that.
But anyway, then I went to the Canaries then at that year in.
I remember you telling me you started having a lot of anxiety in the Canaries, right?
Yeah, whatever. It was there constantly. I remember I came back then. I was in the Canaries for 6 weeks, and then Patrick died, and I came back from the funeral, and I was still taking the CBD, but I was still quite anxious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it took a while. Was there anything else going on in between that, though? Anything else changed, like in your life? Obviously, Patrick dying, that's something big. So, do you think before that happened, everything was okay? Like you were stoned, but
yeah.
do you think Patrick dying might have hit you because you might have? No.
So that was expected for 2 or 3 years, or 4 years.
Not even like, I mean, subconsciously, like, you know.
I don't think so. I think I was at that stage. I think I was detached from everything because I was stoned.
Yeah, it's interesting. Who knows? They just got the wrong plant, you know.
But it was 80% the laid back one and 20% of the other one.
Yeah, but you just don't know. Like you're not the one testing. Can be, you know, problems.
But anyway,
or it might not work for you. Your body might have started rejecting it because you consumed too much of it or something.
But anyway, I then, because the way I was feeling, and I would have known, like, there's an organization in Ireland trying to make cannabis legal, for medical cannabis legal. And there's this woman, I've never met her, but I know of her. Just name is, I forget her first name, Emer Toomey. She was treating her daughter with epilepsy, and they had amazing, like her daughter was on medication, and her daughter was getting probably 30 or 40 epileptic fits a day.
Yeah.
And with the medication, she was very irritable and very non-responsive, and she hadn't a life. This kid now was only, that time she was only about 10 or 12 or something like that. So they went to Spain or Holland, I'm not sure where they went to, and they got cannabis oil. First of all, somebody brought it back to them, and they gave it to her, and she went from 20 fits a day, epileptic fits, down to maybe 1 a day, and then maybe 1 every second day. So she might go through a week with maybe getting only 2 or 3 fits instead of getting 150 to 300 fits in a week.
Insane, isn't it?
So then they went to wherever they were getting the cannabis oil, the medical cannabis oil, and they brought it back and they declared it in customs the way they'd be charged to highlight the whole thing.
Okay, wow.
So anyway, I reached out to I forget her first name on Facebook, and she came back to me, and she gave me the number and the details of the clinic in Barcelona where they were getting their oil.
Yeah.
Where they were being treated. So I made contact with them, and I set up a Skype call with a doctor there. This was now before I left.
Had you stopped taking frankincense oil from Holland? Had you stopped taking that already?
No, I was still taking that. This would be now. Oh yeah, let's be fair. When I was in the Canaries, then I was taking the frankincense oil for about from the summertime. Say, I think I started about July, or probably July, okay. August, September, October. In November, it was early November, I got a PSA test done in Gran Canaria, I remember.
Nothing was happening.
The PSA was, it hadn't gone up, but it hadn't gone down. I was, oh, Jesus, this, I'm stoned and this thing isn't doing me, it's not working. Looking back in hindsight now, it might have been working. Because it was like I should have realized then, if it's stable, it's a good thing. It's not rising. If it's stable, it's a good thing. You know what I mean?
But you were very much self-diagnosing everything at that time, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I didn't. I wanted. Okay, my theory that in my own head was okay. This THCI is going to clean up my prostate. Everything's blah blah blah. Everything's going to be perfect. Blah blah. Do you know what I mean? But
3 months, I'm not enjoying it, so and I'm not getting the results I want. Fuck this shit. Which
so anyway, I made contact with the clinic in Barcelona, and I set up a Skype call with a doctor there. I pay for it. I don't really pay for a 30-minute consultation, maybe 50 euros, maybe 60 euros. But he said he wouldn't recommend THC oil for cancer at all.
which is mad, isn't it?
He would recommend CBD and CBH oil.
Okay, yeah.
So he gave me a place to get the CBD and CBH oil. It was organic, both. It was, I think, from Italy. But it was like the amount I had to take, it would have been costing me about between 500 and 1,000 euros
Months.
a month.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I had no faith in it or whatever, I didn't stick long enough on it. But all that time as well, I had been researching, looking for other ways of doing things. And
well, fixes the problem, right? Where the CBD was a maybe, or the knife, you could say in theory, but sliced it and done the job, right?
sorry, I don't get, can you say it again?
You weren't having the results you wanted, yeah, because CBD is a gradual thing, and then you were getting
Well, see, I didn't know what, like, if I had sit down and work with somebody and had plenty that time of
no.
disposable
So
cash that I could say, look, I'll spend 1,000 euros a month, no problem, for the next 6 months on this, and I'd have to say, what do I expect? What can I get? What result should I have? Do you know what I mean?
and it's just like
In
there's
hindsight, that's the way I would know. It's great in hindsight because you know more than what you knew then. You know what I mean? And you've nobody to direct you, or you've nobody to do anything like that with you.
there's no blueprint, like there's no set diary. You were doing it all on your own, like, you know. This is
Yeah.
very different. Even to record what you're doing, when you're doing it, how long was I doing this for? Okay, all right, we'll do this now. It's you know, you're in the unknown. But this is why this is good, I think, as well.
Mm.
Just for everyone dealing with any kind of difficult thing in their life.
Yeah, like you have to have some. I suppose I'm learning, like it was. What Connor is doing is like it's really like, because I have a certain amount of knowledge in nutrition and I have a certain amount of knowledge in other things. I would be expecting to, so like with the meat only diet and all that, I would be expecting, because of my own nutritional experience and training, blah blah blah, all that, I wouldn't look for look for a coach to do anything like that. So then when you run into difficulties, you don't know, is it normal? Is it, and then you kind of veer off the beaten track. So like what Connor like says, like that, he has a fitness, he's working with a fitness coach himself. He's a fitness coach, but he's working still with a fitness coach himself. He's a nutritionist, but he's still working with a nutritional coach himself, and he's working with a mindset coach himself. You know what I mean? So like it's that, because you're trained in these things, don't mean you need to have somebody to help you.
Everything, even if you're the best in the world at something, you need someone to bounce ideas off when you problems.
It's like the top psychiatrist, psychotherapist. They have to, in psychiatry or psychotherapy, it's compulsory for them to have a session, a weekly session. I think it's compulsory in some profession to have, and they have to record a weekly session, not with somebody.
Yeah, I know, but again, at least you figure that out.
But anyway, so in all that, I suppose I discovered, I suppose, in early 2019, I discovered the clinic in Germany, and I got that. I checked it out, done everything with it that I could, and yeah, it's going back then for I went off started going back to the THC oil, the CBD oil, the CBG oil, all that. He told me that to stay on the CBD, to stay on the THC oil, but introduce a lot of CBD and CBG oil with it to see would it how would you say it, lessen my anxieties and lessen all that.
But again, cash money. So you were like,
yeah, but I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I still had the anxiety, but then again, I didn't do it for long enough. I didn't do it for 3 months or 6 months. I think maybe the anxiety didn't go away within a month, maybe, or something like that. So I think I eventually phased out the THC oil. Maybe I should have stayed on it longer. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I should have stayed on both of them longer. But see, when I went on, going back a bit, when I went on the THC oil, because of my experience with the CBD oil that I was getting here in Ireland, which I now know was CBD oil, I didn't go into the 1 drop of CBD. I said, "Sure, Jesus, I have no problem with this. I can take 3 or 4 drops of this, no problem." And
no, yeah.
do you know what I mean? So I went in, I jumped in to the deep end of the pool and couldn't swim and was drowning, and there was nobody to bring a bloody life jacket to me.
Sounds familiar. Sounds familiar.
But anyway, then I discovered that the place in Germany, what's it called again, the Vitaprostade.
Yeah.
It sounded nearly too good to be true. So then I got it checked out. I got my friend Andrea, who is German, and I got her to go through all the. I gave her everything I had. I got her to go through all the German websites to see could she find anything in the German websites that were wrong about it. And then I got them. I wanted them. Was there anybody in Ireland that had this procedure done? Could I make contact with them? Blah blah blah. All that. And they gave me the name of 2 people in Ireland. One person who had it done in, that was 2019. One person who did it done in 2017 or 18, not that long before that, but another person who did it done in 2013, going back 6 years. And they both were very happy. They had the same as me. They had prostate cancer. They had biopsies done. It showed in the biopsies that they had malignant, that their prostate was malignant. They went for the treatment to the Vitaprostade clinic in Germany, and they had no problems. That sorted everything out for them. They had no problems out of that. Both were, but never both older than me. They were both. They wouldn't be that much older. That time I would be. I think one of them was maybe, one of them was younger than me. One of them was in his early 60s. That time I was my mid 60s, and one of them was in his late 60s. So one would be maybe 2 or 3 years younger than me, and one would be maybe 2 or 3 years older than me. So they would have been the same age.
Good examples, for you to kind of go, this looks good.
Yeah, it just looks fantastic. Like they had 90%, 98% of anybody who done it wasn't incontinent, or 99%. So that was a big ticking box as well, because if you had any other prostate surgery, the chance of being incompetent are in like that you would have to were much higher. Like the chances of being incontinent were much higher. So all them things, they all tick the right boxes.
Okay, so what happens then?
Then I made contact with them. Then they wanted me to come to do an MRI scan there, and to meet the guy who does the procedure, and to see was I a suitable candidate and everything like that.
Okay.
So I went there I think it was in March. or April, I'm not sure which.
Yeah.
And I got the MRI scan, and I sat down with him, and I went in the morning for the MRI scan, and in the early afternoon, he had around maybe, I think maybe, it was very quick anyway, that they had the scan, they had results back within maybe an hour or two maximum. So I went in, sat down in his office, he had the whole thing up on a big TV screen, a big, say, computer screen, and he was able to show me exactly from all different, first time I've ever seen it, my prostate, the growth of the, whatever that was in it, where it was still within the prostate capsule, as they say. It hadn't grown outside the prostate capsule. It was in his words, I was a perfect candidate for that procedure. If it was outside of your prostate, it would be more difficult, but it could still be done. But because mine was still within the capsule, it was it was a much easier procedure, or a much.
Yeah, so lots of positive
Well, I'm
feedback.
sure that's what he'd tell you anyway, because he's trying to set his own products as well. He wouldn't tell you.
Probably believes in it as well, right?
Yeah, he was. I'm not saying he was telling me lies. I'm not saying he was telling me lies. It was probably the truth.
Yeah, but like you said, gonna try and help anyone he can, just like any surgeon, right?
Yeah.
They believe they can do it. That's what makes them good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so he does that anyway, and you kind of go, okay, sweet. And then you're like, fuck, okay, I need to.
So then the big thing was the cost and how to pay for it and all that.
Yeah.
It's 16,000 or 17,000 or 18,000, not sure which euros.
Yeah.
And I came back, and I said, when can you do it? And he said, we can do it today, we can do it tomorrow if you want to. But I said, I don't have the money. I can't do it. So I came back and we talked, and I know it was a 4,000 or 6,000. How would you say it? Maxed out my credit card to what it would take. I was 6,000. And what did I get from you? 10,000, was it? Euros?
Yeah.
So it was definitely probably six maxed out my credit card.
Yeah.
So then I didn't have to pay for until I went there. So I went there. I arranged with Anya.
I remember you went. The credit card didn't work.
I remember, yeah. Your credit card wouldn't go through for the start.
Crazy, for all the build up and planning and shit.
Yeah, because mine went when I put mine in first. It took 6 grand out of mine, and then we were on the phone. I was on to you on the phone, and they put in your numbers, and it was rejected. And you had to ring the bank, I think, or something.
Yeah, because it was in Germany, basically.
But that was the day I went on a Wednesday. Anya, I arranged with Anya to come on the. She was flying out on the Thursday night to be there for Friday market. I didn't know what condition I would be in. I had the operation. Would I need some? But they told me to have somebody with me. I had the operation for flying back. They gave me the whole procedure. I would go there on the Wednesday. I did the procedure on the Thursday. I'd be in a clinic overnight on Thursday night. And on Friday morning, I would come back in for an MRI scan or a scan, and I'd be discharged on the Friday. I'd be able to go home afternoon on Friday.
Sounds great.
But I would have a catheter in place. A catheter is that your is a tube they put up through your penis and right up into your bladder. That the water from your urine is you don't pass your urine normally. So they have to give it. They gave it between 10 and 14 days for your prostate as a procedure to heal. Because
pipe out? How do you take the pipe out?
They showed me how to do. I didn't even have to go to a doctor. I could do it. I done it myself. Go into the bathroom. But you see, there's a bag attached to that. So
I know, but I mean, what was it like taking that thing off?
Very simple. It just slipped out once it just came right down. Very simply.
Jesus Christ.
They told me they went through everything step by step. You're going to a bath, you stand inside the bath, you like
Yeah.
when I had this on for a week or 10 days, but no, it was more than a week, it was about 10 to 14 days. You have it wrapped, you have it sellotaped around around your thigh. What you do is every so often you go to the toilet and you just empty there's a little thing in the bottom, you just open that, let all the urine go into the toilet, close it up again, go back about your daily life. You see, some people have them, some people with prostate problems and with surgery have them permanently.
Yeah. I know. Not just prostate, many problems. Sure, Grandad
Yeah.
Hogan. Grandad Hogan was a vegetable. Like he couldn't piss
Mm.
me. I think he had a bag. He had a bag. He was just pissing out a bag last life. Maybe longer. I don't know. But yeah. So anyway, 2 weeks gone then. So you get
Then had that done. So then I was to do a PA. They wanted me to, the ideal thing, I was paid the money, come back. Come back after 3 months for PSA, do PSA test, come back for an MRI after 3 months. Do a PSA test, come back for an MRI after 6 months. Do a PSA test, come back for an MRI after 12 months. So I said to them, like, that would be each trip, don't mind the cost of the flights, each trip, each consultation, each MRI would cost about the bones of $2,000. I didn't have $6,000 extra. I was completely.
basically half the initial surgery. Did they tell you this beforehand?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I knew that. But I asked them before, can I get this done in Ireland? And they said, yeah, no problem. You can. We prefer if you got it done here, but you can get it done in Ireland. Just send us the results.
Yeah, that's not the whole.
So I got the first PSA test after 3 months, and my PSA was down to 0.5 for first, and that was this is fantastic. Everything is doing grand. I think I'm not sure, did I get them to do an MRI up in St. James's? But the main thing was PSA, like the main thing was the PSA was grand. Then I went to, that year, that October, I went to Portugal for 2 months. So I came back to Ireland in the end of November, start December. I had a PSA done, and
What?
I had
2018, yeah.
That was 2019.
Christmas 2019, but you were here Christmas 2019. You were here Christmas 2019.
But I'm telling you, that's the story. I went to Portugal. I came back to Ireland the end of November.
Oh, and then you went to Thailand. Sorry, gotcha.
Then I got everything done. Then went to Thailand.
Yeah.
At December, PSA was 0.9. Got up a small bit, nothing to worry about. So then went to Thailand.
A good time for yourself.
And went down to Phuket, and everything was grand.
Couple of all right.
Couple
of niggles in the body during that time, wasn't there?
Couple of what?
Couple of niggles. You had a sore ankle or something around that time.
No. Everything was grand when I went to Phuket. Got my month extension, so that I arrived in Thailand in the start of December.
Yeah.
I got my month extension, so that gave me to the first start of February. In February, I went to Kuala Lumpur and got a visa, a 3-month visa.
Lucky you didn't get stuck, right?
What should I know? Could have got stuck in Kuala Lumpur. Could have got stuck many places.
I know, but luckily you got stuck in Naiharn. Like, it would have been awful if you got stuck in a fucking, just some random place.
But like when I came back, okay, when I came back from Kuala Lumpur, I went to Chiang Mai for a month.
No, that too. And then you came back down with her again.
I came back down, and I had to get an extension. This was February, March. The end of March, I had to get an extension.
Yeah.
I remember I went in to get my extension on Paddy's Day, but I was looking to go into either Vietnam or the Philippines.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Very close in going there. Very close. I was on the verge of booking
Just because at least in Thailand I'm here, you know what I mean, and you know the country. Be awful getting stuck in a country you don't
But
really
you see,
know.
I didn't. There was no such thing that time was stuck like. And that time in the end of March, there was a lot of people who were down in Phuket, down Naihan. There was one lady downstairs who had she was a massage therapist, and she lowered everything, hired a truck. This was when I just came back. I came back down. I was told maybe the 20th, 22nd, 23rd of March. I think I came back down to.
We closed school the 17th, so yeah, it would have been a week after, and all flights shut down on April 1st.
Yeah, so then I came back down, and she got a truck and packed up everything, and she was originally from Isan, and
Yeah,
she took a truck and took everything back. I said, why are you doing that? Taking no chances. That I didn't kind of read too much into this at all. Like the next thing was everything closed down.
Yeah, I know, it's mad, but at
I
least you
could have
got.
been I could have been stuck in some fucking place in Vietnam
Oh, I know.
or in the Philippines
Or in a fucking
that I wouldn't
airport.
be able to fucking get out of. People only left out of the Philippines about 12 months ago. They were stuck in it for a year, 2 years. Some people.
Yeah, you probably would have found a way around it, but you would
I
have
probably
got
would
you.
have found a way around it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's true. Yeah, so you're doing that anyway, and then you get stuck in Thailand. Everything's fine, basically. You're a bit bored probably because you can't go for a swim, but you know you're
But I
doing all right.
was cycling, doing all that. But then this was in March and April, May. I think about probably early May. I remember one day getting off my bicycle and I felt a kind of a pull in my groin.
Yeah,
And then I thought, well, the muscle I pulled. First of all, I was very concerned in case it would have been my hips. My knowledge, I said, I hope to God my hip isn't going or isn't gone.
yeah, yeah.
And then I started getting massages on it, and Jesus, the massages seemed to make I could hardly walk at times. It made everything worse. And I couldn't hardly walk, or I couldn't hardly do anything. And I could cycle, but I couldn't walk. And I stopped getting massages. I knew they were freaking making me worse.
Yeah.
And then when in the start of June, when it opened up that we could leave Phuket, we couldn't drive out of it. Well, you could drive. The flying was still not opened.
Yeah.
But we could. We got a taxi to what airport? Surat Thani.
Oh, Phuket was closed, but there were still
Phuket
flights.
was still closed. But we taxis were going to Surat Thani Airport and flying from there to Bangkok.
Yeah. Because Phuket had shut down. They wouldn't let anyone come in, but you could leave.
So
Madness looking back. So yeah, then I met you in Bangkok in the airport. We had some dinner.
yeah, then came back to Ireland. All the bullshit was on that time. All the social distancing and everything. Then we got on a Lufthansa flight, and you couldn't even freaking. There was people everywhere. There was no spare seat. There was people were picking everywhere. No social distancing. Nothing like that. Even though I knew it was bullshit, that made it confirmed it to me that this is only fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And then in the flight, you have to wear a mask. And then a half an hour into the flight, they came with food, or an hour into the flight, they came with food. And we had to take the masks off, and people were and farting and blowing their noses and coughing and everything.
Yeah, a little super spreader event. So then
And
you
then
got.
you had to put your mask back on again.
Yeah.
And then you arrived in Frankfurt, and then you couldn't. The airport of Frankfurt, we had to so far apart from each other after being stuck together on top of each other for 8 hours before it. Anyway.
Yeah. Madness. But yeah, so you got back to Ireland anyway.
So the first day I done when I got back, I had booked when I came back. I think I gone back on the 1st of June. First day I done, I went to the doctor, got a blood test done.
Because you had a lot of time on your own probably then down in Phuket, you know? Was this on your mind? You had a lot of time in Phuket for 3, 4, 5 months, you know? Was this on your mind?
Not really, because I was kind of it would have been on my mind, but it wouldn't be majorly on my mind. You know what I mean?
We're enjoying life, like let's say.
Yeah. It was like even with the lockdown, it was a pain in the arse because the one that affected me the lockdown. If I hadn't beach was left open, I had no problem. But now I hadn't, because that was my schedule. Before the lockdown, I was going to Niahad and walk the beach every morning, which is probably 1,000 meters one way, 1,000 meters another way, and then I'd cycle home, have the food, and then in the evening time I might go for another cycle. Go towards Phuket, turn up left, up towards Niahad. It's about
Your routine.
10-15 kilometers cycle.
Yeah, and there's a nice reward at the end of that hot fucking cycle. You get to jump in the sea.
But then you see the jump in the sea was gone then. So, but I still used to do the cycle. I cycled out to Niahad and just look into the sea. I did jump into the sea a few times because I went there a few mornings early. Because I did the one morning early cycling and I had no gear with me, and I seen a few guys in the sea swimming. And then I came a few mornings early and I just went into the sea for a dip. But there was no comfort in it. Like, I mean, you're watching over your shoulder in case these fuckers will come along and pull you out and take you away and throw you into the cell.
I know. Madness. But yeah, you had some kind of enjoyment. Let's say you were
Yeah. I was okay. Like first, yeah, I left where I was staying in and I booked into the place where you could cook because that time then all the restaurants closed down. There was takeaway food. We didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what there was going to be, what the situation was, and where I was staying. You were eating in the room, like you were bringing back takeaways to the room, like, and the smell of food would be in the room. There was nowhere else to eat.
Yeah, it's just, when you cooking as well, there's something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so then I booked into that place. What's the place called? The
Nampung Residence, where I stay. Yeah.
And they had kitchen there and everything and blah, blah, blah. So I was there for the month of April.
Yeah.
And then the restaurants kind of opened up again in May, so I was able to go back. I went back to the place before. The place before was much cheaper. Like, I think that place was almost 20 grand with paying for the electricity and everything.
Or 15 plus electricity, yeah, which is
and for them, the other place was 10 with everything included, I think.
Yeah. But it was ideal for just the isolation as well. It was better.
Yeah, it was grand for that. Like, yeah.
So then, yeah, you have your time in Thailand. You fly back to Ireland. You say you book your appointment.
I booked my appointment, but I didn't fly back to Ireland. I was using the crutches I was here because my leg was getting worse.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the doctor, got blood tests done, and then I went to the hospital and got my hip x-rayed and all that done. And I thought the hospital would be like, because it was a closed down with COVID and everything, it was the best time ever to go to the hospital. Got in, got my x-ray done, got whatever done my hip with that, and I was in and out in about 3 or 4 hours. Normally it would take probably 2 days.
It's fucking mad.
No, there was no one there. Most of the wards were empty. Like, I thought I was going into hospital was going to be like a war zone, that all these sick people and all these dying people in the hospital. There was nobody in the hospital.
Pandemic.
So anyway, that was the situation, and then the word came back that my PSA had gone up to 6 or 7 or something like that. So the doctor made an appointment with a urologist, and she sent me for bone scans and PET scan. No, bone scan, MRI scan in Bonsecourt in Cork. So then that was in June. I came back in June. I had the appointment with her probably in the end of June, start of July. Got them all done, and then I was not worried. I was more thing that was concerning me more. That thing was my hip and my groin or whatever was painful.
Was this affecting your daily life? Your general happiness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that was improving, it wasn't. It was improving. It was still there. I still had that pain in my groin area.
Yeah.
And then I had an appointment to see her back with the results. She did an examination, physical examination, that your prostate feels okay. It's probably just a mild infection you picked up. We'll give you a course of antibiotics. Come back I'll give you a shout back. My secretary will give you a ring when I have the results of the bone scan and the MRI back, and we'll have a chat. So I remember I had them done sometimes in July anyway, middle of July, because I remember there was workaways here, and I went to Cork, so I asked them did I want to come to Cork with me for a day, and they could then work the hours here instead of no means they wanted to, because that time every firm was closed down. Like if they could walk around the city, like most of the shops were closed, everything was nearly closed here at the time. Like when I arrived back in Dublin the start of June, and never in my life Dublin was like a ghost town. The only thing that was around Dublin that time when I came back from from the airport into Bussars with the bus, there was only winos in the streets of Dublin. It was never as this was 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the daytime. I'd never seen Dublin as eerie in my whole life. It was actually frightening. All pubs boarded up. It was like a war scene. Pubs were closed, and all them like timber on all the windows and the doors all blocked up.
Wow.
The only thing on the street was the winos.
Yeah, it's madness.
And then you could only, the seat in the bus, you could only sit one to a seat. The seat in front of you was blocked off. The seat behind you was blocked off. I think the 45 seats of coach could only take either 10 or 12 people.
Did they triple the price, or was it the same price?
No.
Same price. I guess they had no customers, so it didn't matter.
This is crazy. Coming from Dublin, Bus Éireann Expressway, they go from the airport to Bussars. They leave Bussars, and then the only stops they do, then they go into Roscrea and they go into Nina, and they go onto Limerick.
Mhm.
There was nobody getting off on Roscrea, so they could have come directly to Nina. Because they arrived at the bus stop in Roscrea, but nobody was getting off, and the bus driver knew who was getting on and getting off because people bought the tickets, and he knew them. But there was people waiting there for the bus to get back on, and he wouldn't take them on.
Okay.
The same in Nina. The one woman in Nina, she was crying. She begged him, I have to get to Limerick. I have to get to Limerick. My daughter was some family problem. He said, I'm sorry, I can't take you. 6 people or 10 people in a 45-seater bus, and he couldn't take any more.
Yeah, madness.
And why he went in there and stopped to give people a false hope that they were going to get on the bus.
Yeah, weird times, eh?
Oh, crazy, man, crazy. But anyway, then I remember it was the last, whatever day it was the one, it was 27th, 28th or something of July, because my friend Bernard, his mother died, and myself and Susan went to Dublin to the funeral. And I had an appointment that evening to see the urologist, Dr. Fanning, at 5 o'clock. So I knew I'd be back in time for 5 o'clock. So went to the funeral, came back, stopped on the way down, had something to eat, came in, went into her, seen her, and she said, yeah, the results of your bone scan and your MRI back, you have your prostate cancer is malignant, it has spread to your bones. I was like, what? What does this mean? Is it treatable? No, it's not treatable. It's not curable. It's treatable. She wrote her a prescription for me. She says you can go to your doctor or go to the chemist and get this prescription filled up. Start taking the medication straight away. And I was saying, what's this like? Is there side effects? What does it do? She gave me some literature with the side effects on the literature. She didn't sit down and explain exactly to me. I came out there, I was absolutely shell shocked.
Understandably so.
Absolutely shell shocked I was. I didn't know whether I was coming or going. Like the only thing I said, your prostate cancer is malignant, you're dying.
Yeah, it didn't work. Whatever you thought worked, it didn't work.
Nothing worked. So there I was.
Yeah, fucking hell. It's crazy.
will we leave it at that for today?
Yeah, because there's still a little bit more in between that and then the next step, right?
Yeah,
There's like
yeah.
a between period between that and Budwig, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the in-between part next time, yeah?
Yeah. Start off where we finished it there now with the how would you say it? The
First few
what I
years.
done, like, okay, leaving the clinic that evening to follow on from that.
Yeah, from getting that fucking kind of, I'm back in Thailand, PSA levels might be up a little bit, but yeah, we'll just get this thing and we'll take the antibiotics.
If there's anything for that, I listened back to this. If there's anything I think of that I've missed and all that.
Yeah, I think we covered most things. There might have been a few things we didn't go into more detail, but if you want to give more detail next time, you can.
I'll go
as well.
back and listen to. Is there anything I've kind of, do you know what I mean?
No, that was good. That was clear. That was good.
Yeah.
And what were we? 115 minutes. So nice time to finish up as well.
How much?
An hour and 15 minutes.
Okay, we stop recording.
Yeah, you stop recording.